Hey guys, BlackCross here, and welcome to another vlog video where this time is going to be different. Nothing bad happened, by the way, for those that are wondering, because this is going to be a different format that I have been tempted about thinking about for a while now. So I feel like I need to say a few things, you know. I've always constantly jumped back and forth with ideals and stuff, and in all honesty, it's never been the same. I'm constantly shifting ideals and stuff, and I can never seem to make up my mind of what I want to do, you know. There is, however, a set of things that I know for a fact that I want to do, you know. Number one is being able to play a video game casually, you know. Not this whole acting scene or anything like that. I want to play it as freely and as casually as possible. You know, play the game whenever I want to play it and stuff of that nature. The second thing is making relatively good videos. That, unfortunately, is somewhat a lack, I suppose you could say. I don't think the videos have been bad. It's just, I don't know, I feel like there's something else I could do to the videos themselves and stuff. And I feel like I'm kind of restricted as to like what I can and what I can't do. That being said, the problem is that there are two key factors. Number one is lack of knowledge. I lack the intelligence and the ambitious, creative style of knowing how to make videos and stuff. I think this is apparent. I admit this, I am not the smartest person, and I'm not the most well-organized person to do it in. But with that being said, I feel like I can contribute to some degree of how I can make my videos and stuff. The problem, though, however, is the second issue, is time. For those that don't know, I do actually work at a job. I work at Walmart. Not the best, but, you know, it pays the bills and everything. And I constantly jump back and forth with my emotions between whether I should stay at it or if I should leave at it. You guys have followed me for a long time, and I feel like I have continued this trend for a long period of time. And I said back in my last vlog that I was not going to talk about it. You know, that is my situation that I have to put up with, and unless something major happens, I would inform you, but from here on out, it's just sealed of lips. Even though right now, our Walmart is going through a major change in shift, and we don't really know where it's going to go from here on out. We just know things are changing within the next year. So until something major happens, I'm just leaving it at that. Unfortunately, though, we have entered the rush season of the store. For those that don't know, November and December are usually the roughest months to work in. Arguably October, but we got through October pretty well, actually. I think October actually went by a lot quicker than I had predicted. But here we are, we're in the first week of November, which by the time this video comes out, it will be probably the second week of November, but still to that point. And there are going to be times where I'm going to be worn out, I'm going to be drugged out and everything like that. So, in other words, video production followed by streaming will be a lacking, probably. In fact, it's probably apparent within the past 2 weeks. One of them was that I got sick. You have the fact that my allergies was part of it, you know, mid-season between summer and fall, that will do that. And then, of course, you also have the fact that I've either gotten a small case of cold or flu, whichever one. So I was unfortunately slightly ill at that time period. At the time, though, I was trying to recover and recuperate. And then after I got better, we got swamped with merchandises and stuff. So you can kind of tell where that goes into play. I was kind of worn out. That situation kind of arise and therefore changes the schedule of streaming entirely. Now that's just on one end of the perspective. There is another end of perspective, and unfortunately it's in here. Not to say that I suffer from depression, but there is no denying that I do suffer a form of some kind of psychology of perspective. Whatever phrase people want to call it is a form of psychiatric thinking of some kind. Whether it's negative influence or just underwhelming thoughts or whatever, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, I do feel like, the times that I feel like I could actually do something, unfortunately reduces it to nothing. And so it's one of those things where it's like, in a sense, it's pure laziness, is what it is. It's not a lack of wanting to do something, nor is it the lack of, like, positive vibes or whatever. No, it's just pure laziness. That's what it is. And so I've been trying to figure out how I can fix myself, fix the channel as it is. And I've come to a conclusion. I have to reboot the channel. I don't think anyone has ever done that. Reboot something. When they do something new to a channel, they either put it on another channel for people to subscribe to and stuff like that, or they just delete their existing account and create a new one, or whatever. They usually just start a new channel. What I plan to do, I plan to keep the old channel, but I'm redoing everything, which is harder said than done. I don't know how well this will work. I just know what I want to change it to. But whether or not that change is going to take effect is uncertain right now. So let's just talk about it. You guys have probably followed me at this point. You know what's been going on. But for those that don't, I've been doing this for 4.5 years. Soon to be 5 in March 30th. March 31st. It was the last day of March is whenever I signed up. Because when I uploaded the video, I was thinking about doing it on the 1st of April. Which a lot of people would have thought that was an April Fool's joke. I want to change my channel into something else. Originally it was just a Let's Play channel where I was playing video games and stuff like that. And if you've noticed, that has died a little bit. It has evolved, however, on the Twitch side of things. So if you want to check out me playing some of the latest games that I've been wanting to play, or some of the newer ones or older ones or whatever, you can check out that. But I've been thinking about that too, but we'll get to that in order. But I've been wanting to change my channel now for a while, and I've been trying to hop into like the news side of thing, and unfortunately that has not worked out well. But I've changed how I've done the Just a Thought videos. Originally I was trying to get to like whatever new thing was coming up into frame and had my interest and stuff, which unfortunately I've been not present at. In fact, if nothing else, I've been doing terrible at it. And so, unfortunately, the quality of the Just a Thoughts had turned into, instead of it being a news outlet, to being a, here's something that I thought of, something that would be interesting to talk about. That type of thing. And I like doing that, and to some degree, some people like them. Not a lot of people have commented on those videos, unfortunately, but still to a point, I do enjoy making those type of videos. Those are the videos I think will do pretty good on their own. But I gotta do better at editing the videos, Even if I don't have as much time to put them together, I need to make them a little bit better. The PlayStation 2 Legacy series, those have done pretty well, actually. I constantly look back at the videos and I think to myself, is there something else that I can do to them? And it's like, no, it seems like I've done pretty well what I wanted it to be, And so, with that being said, I think that is where it wants to be at next. The next level, however, of video I'm wanting to do is more of a collector field, if you will. Occasionally I do unboxings, but unfortunately, because of the fact that, a lot of stuff isn't coming out as quickly, like the Jack X Collector's Edition. It's been a while since they've talked about that, so that one's going to be a while, sounds like. Unfortunately, there is a situation in regards to Japan shippings, like the Kingdom Hearts figures for that matter. Last time I tried to order a figure from Square Enix themselves, even though it said it was released, the shipping date was not being confirmed. Like, they hadn't pulled money yet, of course, obviously. They hadn't pulled it out. They don't pull it out until they do shipping. But for some reason, it was taking longer and longer. And I think that has something to do with the whole, like, whatever is going on between China and America that Trump is putting together, which is absolute bullshit, but that's beside the point. So in terms of collecting, that's kind of slowed down, except for the game scene of things. So, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I plan to rechange the BlackCross collect game thing, because as it is, I haven't really updated that, you know, and I don't want to update it just for the pure sake of like, hey, here's something that I've collected and stuff, when in reality it's like 2 or 3 items and everything, when in reality I want to do more occasional collections and stuff like that, you know. So, will that continue? I hope to, but it also depends on the amount of games that I get within the accumulation. You know, I don't want to just put out a video and show, hey, here's 5 games that I just recently picked up. That would be for a very small video, really, when you think about it. So, I think really what it needs to be is just, it needs to be like a segment of where I collect games, pop figures, so on and so forth, and just put them in a video format. But I don't know how to do it that is well organized, that I can remember all the stuff that I've collected. There is another form of video series that I'm wanting to do in terms of collecting, and that's more or less of giving advice for collectors, you know, people who are new to the scene. I want to help them to, or more or less encourage them to complete their collection of some kind or whatever. Whether or not if I'll have the motivation or the time to put them together, that all depends really, obviously. The deep dive into gaming videos, you probably know that they're technically a form of video review. And they're not just a video review. They are literally just the inner thoughts that I've had about the game that I have recently played and stuff. And unfortunately, that's kind of fallen out of the segue and stuff, and I want to bring that back up. But if I do that, I want to change a few things in regards to the games that I play, obviously. And that's where the change for Twitch might come into play. I've been hesitant about it for a while, and I don't know how to transition this and stuff. But I guess the only way to transition it is if to just basically say, here's what I'm gonna do. Basically on Twitch, I've been mostly playing RPGs. And also wanted to play other games I've been wanting to play here and there and stuff. But the genuine ideal is this. Is that I'm not going to be streaming as much on Twitch as I used to. I am going to figure out a plan on how I can still edit videos on the days that I'm either working or off, but at the same time, I'm going to try to dedicate one day for streaming for a longer period. Not just this hour and a half, something like that, and not just before I go to work stream type thing. Because I feel like if I do it that way, I'm not as, I suppose you could say, active for streaming. And the problem with Twitch streaming is that there are 2 things. One of them, you have to play the newest game, or the popularest game, which I don't either of those things. I tend to play games that come out or what I want to play priority, you know. It's never, play it as soon as it comes out, or play it that is because it's the most popular. No, I play it based on when I want to play it, you know. If I want to play Fortnite, I'll play Fortnite. If I want to play Gears of War, I'll play Gears of War. If I want to play Kingdom Hearts for the update time, I'm going to do that. Which is a future plan, but I'll get to that in just a sec. But still. So that's the problem that I am, you know. That's my own problem, but that's a problem that I'm willing to face. But that doesn't generate a lot of an audience, really, unfortunately. So it's one of those things where it's like, after I do Ni no Kuni and Ni no Kuni 2, and I don't know why I do this to myself, but I feel like I should do this. But after Ni no Kuni and Ni no Kuni 2, Twitch streaming is going to be going on a hiatus, if you will. More of a vacation, probably. You will still see me streaming on occasion, but most of the games, unless I feel like I can make them into an actual experience for people to enjoy, I can't really do a Let's Play on every game for Twitch streaming. Unless I get a larger audience and people say differently, I think Twitch streaming needs to be going away I've had some great fun Twitch streaming, do not get me wrong. And there are still a handful of games that I do plan on streaming. But Twitch-wise is probably going to be slowing down. There is, however, a few good games that I am definitely wanting to stream. One of them is obviously Breath of the Wild. Whenever I get a Nintendo Switch, I will be streaming that again, but differently this time around. This time, whenever I get around to it, if I'm not mistaken, technically speaking, I have to beat the game in order to get Master Mode, which is basically a harder difficulty for Breath of the Wild. So that's going to be interesting. But another thing different about that is that I'm going to invite some friends for chat, to where basically we're going to be hanging out and me playing the game and just having fun, you know. How well that's going to work out, I don't know. It also depends on internet connectivity. So in terms of streaming, it depends on the internet capability that I have currently at that time. Hadn't really tested it yet, you know. Me and Dalmar hadn't really tested two separate stations for recording or much less doing chat, for that matter. And then of course you have the fact that technically speaking I've never streamed while someone was being on a chat service. So I don't know how well that's going to work. That one's going to be a test field, if you will. So depending on the test field depends on the Let's Play quality itself. The next form of streaming Let's Play thing I want to do is Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I don't know why, but for some reason these past couple of months, Kingdom Hearts 3 has sort of entered in this realm of controversy, which really didn't really need to be in a controversy. I don't know why, but it seems like everybody wants to have some kind of controversial argument. And out of all the things that is controversial, why is Kingdom Hearts 3 controversial? Arguably, there are some people who are displeased with Kingdom Hearts 3, and yet there are some who still enjoy it, much like myself. But with that being said, I want to jump into Kingdom Hearts 3 for two main reasons. Reason number one is obviously due to the fact of the Remind DLC that we will be getting in the next couple of months, which technically they say winter, which that's a broad subject. You know, it could be anywhere between now until February or March. So there you go. We don't know when. Some people suspect it to be released in January of next year, which would mark the 1-year anniversary for Kingdom Hearts 3, which would make sense. That actually would fit the bill, actually. That's sort of the same idealization that all the remixes have done. You know, after Kingdom Hearts 1, they did a remix of Kingdom Hearts 1. Same thing with Kingdom Hearts 2, Burst by Sleep. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Final Fantasy X also did that. But that's what a lot of people have talked about. They said that a year after the original game came out, so did the final mix versions of these things. Which, if that's true, then that would make more sense. Because essentially, that's what the Remind DLC is. It's basically a whole bunch of add-on content, along with some add-on story elements for Kingdom Hearts 3. So, in hindsight, you could say this kind of follows the same way the Final Fantasy 15 did, where they added a whole bunch of stuff. The only difference is, it's more... I don't know what the word to say about it, actually. If you witness Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix versus Kingdom Hearts 2, you can probably see the difference. And you can probably suspect the difference in that field of format. Kingdom Hearts 1 didn't really have a dramatically different Final Mix version, whereas Kingdom Hearts 2 did. And Burst by Sleep did have a different version of Final Mix compared to the original, but it's not as highly changed as Kingdom Hearts 2's was, but it's a little bit more different than how Kingdom Hearts 1 did it. So, depending on how Kingdom Hearts 3 is, depends on how big of a difference it will be in the main game itself, obviously. But the second reason I want to do a streaming Let's Play series of Kingdom Hearts 3 is that I have yet to 100% complete Kingdom Hearts 3. What? And you know me, I have completed every Kingdom Hearts game that has ever been made. Except 3 for some reason. I don't know, I just hadn't had time to get back into the game. In fact, I hadn't even finished beating critical mode for Kingdom Hearts 3 yet. Last time I played it was back on my birthday when I did the 24-hour stream, and I got pretty far. I was at Pirates of the Caribbean World. So when you think about it, I was almost there. And I hadn't had a chance to pick it back up since then. I might do a surprising stream on YouTube. I've had some people actually comment to me saying that, I should try streaming on YouTube. The thing is, though, I've heard a lot of different YouTubers, professional YouTubers, mind you, people who have done this longer than I have, who basically stated on their channel that streaming on YouTube is not really good. In fact, for some people, they say for some reason it's as if YouTube doesn't want to do streaming, even though they have it, but they don't want to support it, which is weird. But I have a lot more subscribers on YouTube than I do followers on Twitch. On Twitch, I've got like 48, 49, whereas here on YouTube, I've got 104. So you would think it would make sense to do streaming here on YouTube rather than streaming on Twitch. But the only thing is that I don't know how that transition works, It's not just a simple switch. It has to be like some kind of technicality that has to be done in order for it to work with YouTube before you can just say, hey, let's stream on YouTube. There's got to be something else. So I'm wanting to do like a test thing before I just flat out and say, hey, I'm going to be streaming on YouTube here. So, there you go on that one. But these changes and everything like that, there is one major change that's going to affect the channel itself, and thus the reason why I say it's going to be a reboot. The channel name. So, if you know, the channel name is BlackCross Gameplay. The reason for that originally was that my name is BlackCross. I am known as BlackCross on YouTube, and on Twitch, and on Twitter. For that being the case, though, BlackCross Gameplay would mean that I would have more gameplay, right? Well, if you noticed that, I have decreased it in the past 2 years. Actually, not in the past 2 years, more like in the past, 6 months now. After I got done with the Final Fantasy videos and stuff, I basically was more or less turned into a highlight reel. And that one, unfortunately, is kind of going in a downhill on its own as well. It just not as interacted on Twitch, and I'm not as funny by myself. So, with that being said, the highlight reels probably will be a slowdown as well. But I do want to do more videos. So, with that being said, it's all experiment. But then, the question is, okay, well, if you're going to change the channel name, what's it going to be? The channel name itself is going to be BlackCross Game Shelf. The funny thing is that I originally was thinking about changing it into BlackCross Gaming Emporium. Considering the fact that I do a lot of gaming stuff and everything. But then Delmar brought it up to me. He said, if you're going to name it BlackCross Emporium, it means you have a plethora of knowledge of gaming. When in reality, you don't have that vast knowledge. I try talking about like Diablo or Blizzard and stuff like that, and in reality, I am not even remotely invested, much less remotely delved into any of the areas that Blizzard, much less any of the games that Blizzard had published. So why am I even remotely talking about it? Because they're basically the largest thing that's being talked about, and the changes that they have done have been so majorly changes, I thought that this was weird. But yeah, I know no knowledge of Blizzard themselves, so there you go on that one. So it can't be BlackCross Gaming Emporium. Whereas if I say BlackCross Game Shelf, it basically means I have a knowledge of stuff that I have that's on my shelf right now. Meaning that I have a knowledge of Kingdom Hearts, Dark Souls, Final Fantasy, stuff of that nature. So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to call it BlackCross Game Shelf rather than BlackCross Gaming Emporium. But it makes more sense in that tone. And I feel like if I change the name, and this is a theory, so we're going to find out how that works. But the theory is that if I change it to BlackCross Game Shelf, that will encourage people to subscribe to the channel, and that would mean that more people would be more inclined to subscribe it because it's more of a collecting series rather than a Let's Play series. But in reality, it's more of a gaming vlog series rather than a gaming collecting series per se, So hopefully all these changes, again, these won't be affected until like the week after this video comes out, but the majority of the changes will happen in accumulation of time. You know, you will still see me streaming Ni no Kuni and Ni no Kuni 2 on Twitch, but everything else I'm going to be playing on my own time, and at the same time I'm also going to try to put out better videos per se. How well that's going to work out, we'll have to see. I'm not expecting it to be a major turnout, but it's going to make me feel comfortable about how I do things. Because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm being pressured into something, even though I'm not. I don't know, it just, again, it's a personal psychology problem. I don't know what it is. It's not depression, it's something else. And until I can get that fixed, things are going to be a little bit different from here on out. I want to thank you guys personally for following me. If you have followed me, let me know what are some of the things that you enjoy out of this channel. I really want to know. I really do. I don't just say it because I'm curious. I really generally want to know what your interests are. What games have you seen me play that you enjoy me playing the most? Do you prefer more of the strategic side of things, or do you want to prefer more of the action-oriented games for me to talk about? Do you prefer me talking about games, or do you prefer to see me play games? You know, these are things that I generally want to know. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully in a better perspective. So thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.